Okay, we are live. So thank you, Dr. Kerry Pride, for taking the time to talk with us and to share your experience you have with the Tendiboots. So just to quickly remind people who are you and what you are doing. So you practice equine veterinary medicine in Montana and Iowa also at the Prairie Meadow Racetrack. I hope I pronounce well. So you are, yeah. So you are a vet in the US, and you are specialized in prevention and follow-up of sport horses, and particularly quarter horse. And finally, you are a chiropractor, veterinarian, and a barrel horse rider in a competition also. So great. So did I forget something for this introduction, or is everything okay?
Nope, everything's perfect, and just thanks for having me on. So.
Yeah, no, it's a real pleasure. So for the vet who follow us, maybe they have already seen your video because you have already done a few testimonials about what you think about the Tendiboots, and you shared your feedback. So thank you so much. And for this particular meeting, I wanted to ask you two questions that we often ask about veterinarians who are thinking about using the system. And so since we have often this question, we think it's better to have the word of someone who is using it and a vet like them. So the first question that I have is about the Tendiboots data. So I will share my screen so we can see together what we are talking about. So here, do you see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
It's loading right now. Yep, there it is.
So basically, it is what you get when, so you are familiar with this. So this is basically what you get when you use the Tendiboots. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it gets a couple of seconds before, after you are finished recording to get this result.
Yes, absolutely. It's so quick and easy. That is one of the huge, there's a lot of very positives about the Tendiboots, but one of them, it is so user-friendly. You get the data very quickly. Yeah. And that's really important in a busy practice.
Yeah. So basically what we get is four main data, which is the load balance between the forelimbs. So it is expressed in Newton. We have also the stance duration below that. We have also the stride length for each stride. It's an average of each stride. And I wanted to know, how does this information help you in your practice and help you to contextualize your visual examination?
Okay, perfect. Well, with all of my horses, since the focus is really on prevention, I like to watch them walk straight away towards me. We do circles each way. So I do that without the boots on first, just to get an idea of how the horse is moving. I do a lot of my work at a walk because I like to look biomechanically how they're moving, how that fetlock's dropping, right, where their hips are, their head, all of that. Then what I do is I put the Tendiboots on them, and then what I always do is have them go one walk one way, then come back to me, and then we do it at a trot. And then I'm able to look at the data really quickly. And what I do look at all the measures. With me, I want to look, because of the chiropractic and acupuncture work that I do, it helps me look biomechanically how they're moving. Are we loading unevenly? You know, the other big part of it, of course, as a veterinarian or anybody in the horse world knows, looking at their feet, how balanced are their feet? How could that be contributing to what we're seeing? And I like being able to quantify it. The other big piece of this for me that has been huge is, so say I have a horse that visibly is not lame, but he's not loading evenly. So then I'll proceed to do some, either acupuncture or chiropractic manipulations on the horse, and then I repeat those measurements with the Tendiboots. And what's been amazing is being able to see that improvement in their gait pattern. Mm-hmm. And I think that's huge also for trainers, owners, because a lot of them, at least in the United States, they still think acupuncture and chiropractic is a little bit voodoo. So we're changing some of that, but some people still think that. So it's nice to be like, oh, actually, no, here's why. Like, here was your horse pre-treatment, here's your horse post-treatment.
Okay.
And then the other big piece of that is with the feet, right? I'm not sure in France, but we have a lot of very mediocre farriers here sometimes, and you'll look and it's like, oh my goodness, did somebody different shoe every foot on that horse?
Okay.
And so being able to show them the impact of how that is affecting that horse's stride length, how he's loading, all of those are huge. And then to be able to work with the farrier to correct those and then see how that horse responds, it really helps them. And because one of my favorite equine veterinarians out there is actually a French veterinarian, Jean-Marie Denois.
Okay.
Because he has one of my favorite quotes that he has is, it's something like this. It's not verbatim, but horses rarely go lame from one bad step. It's 10,000 not so good steps.
Okay.
And these boots can really show people the impact of that, right? Like they'll say, wow, he's working well, he's galloping well, or he's doing these things fine, but eventually that's going to catch up to him, right?
Okay.
And so it helps me quantify and show that.
Yeah, okay. So that helps you quantify, and also, which is maybe important for you, it's to illustrate to your trainer and your job, what you are doing, the improvement. And so it's also what we are, the second question that I have. So we have a result right now, but we can also have an history of the horses. So for example, here I will share a screen once again for the second. So here I have put the data out of the system, and I've created a graph about an history of a horse. So you are maybe familiar with this. It's a horse that have issue with horse shoeing, so that you need to check every 4 weeks to know what is going wrong. So, for example, here we have after shoeing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but here it is after shoeing, and it go back to normal, and after shoeing, and it go back to normal later on. So how does this graph, the history graph, is helping you in this kind of evolution? So here it's for horse shoeing, but you talk about acupuncture, and so if you can help us understand better how you use this history graph.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple really big strengths of this, and this is really important for me, is being able to follow these horses. And especially when you look at the racing quarter horse side of things, these boots have not only helped me figure out with the trainer how often do these horses need to be reshod and reset, because there's so much torque and force on those quarter horses. I mean, they're getting up to over 40 miles per hour and 225 yards. And so we're able to show the impacts of shoeing, even though some people may only shoe their horse every 4 weeks. Some of these horses need reshod every 3 weeks because maybe they grow a little more toe or a little more heel on one foot versus the other. Mm-hmm. The other big, really interesting part of this, and I'm going to dive into this more this year, is using these boots. So we all know when a horse has a speed work, they're probably going to be a little muscle sore, especially the first few when you have the 2-year-olds that are learning how to do all of this, leave the starting gate, get that speed. So being able to put those boots on the horse and say, all right, how are we 24 hours after a work? Where are we at 48 hours after a work? And that'll also help after a race as well, to help that trainer, like maybe this horse needs 3 days after a work or race before he goes even to gallop. So, using them in those regard as well. The other thing I think that is super important is learning a baseline on that individual animal. What is their normal gait pattern?
Yeah. Okay.
And if we start to see some mild deviations in that, then I better go looking for what's going to be, where is our issue in that horse, so we can keep them within their normal. And I think that's huge from a prevention standpoint, from preventing these horses to having injuries that might end up stopping their racing that year, or now they have to go on rest. And so trying to catch it early, whether that be looking at in quarter horse race horses, they have pretty prone to dorsal metacarpal disease as well as chips in their knees. And so if we can start to see some changes, then it's like, all right, work with a trainer. You may want to back off this horse for a little while. Let's do some x-rays. Let's kind of see where we're at. So super helpful in tracking that horse and keeping him performing and sound where he's going to work and do his job for the trainer.
Okay, yeah, okay, very interesting. So what you do, for example, is you take a first measurement to take a baseline. So you can see that the horse looks okay for you, and this is your baseline, and you work from this baseline to know how it evolved during the time after the race, etc.
Yep, absolutely. And I think the proof is in the pudding with the small group of horses I looked at. I'm going to do a lot bigger group this year. Okay. But we followed, 6 horses in training from 2-year-olds to the oldest, I think, was Rooster at 6. I think he's 6 or 7. And being able to follow those horses, I was amazed. Not one of them needed a joint injection. Okay. We were able to keep those horses sound and performing. But because I do really believe in that, it is because we could detect subtle differences and changes and address them before they became a problem, so those horses could stay performing. Because we all know a horse, I don't care what the discipline, whether it be racing, hunter jumper, dressage, a good athlete is going to use their body pretty hard. Yeah. And if we can detect where there might be some potential issues and address them, we're going to keep that horse competing at the level they should be competing at. And so I think that is huge. Yeah. The power of these to follow a horse is amazing. Okay. Yeah. So your goal is to stay at the highest level, but not go too high and risk a bad injury. So yeah. So and the Tendiboots help you in this to objectivize your visual examination, etc., etc. Yep, absolutely. Because I want to see them before there's a problem. My practice has really shifted because I think as a veterinarian, at least it's such common practice here in the United States, like, oh, we're just going to inject his knees, we'll inject his hocks, we're going to inject this, and then we're going to go. And we never, that's well and good, but we never addressed what was the primary problem that caused him to need that. You fix the issue, but not the real problem. Yes, and so with these boots, it really allows me to look at these horses that really, to our naked eye, we know how we're pretty good. But I know if you line up 6 equine vets and do some, especially on some of those subtle things, we even know grading system of lameness. There's some inconsistencies among veterinarians. So this takes that out, right? We have an objective measure for that horse on that day, and then we can follow them along, and it's huge for that. Okay, so thank you very much for this feedback. I don't think I have more questions. Let me check. No, it's okay. So during this exchange, we talk about the 2 main questions that we have. So I hope this will help other vets like you to understand maybe better how they can use it, and how we can support them. So it's a really great pleasure and honor to accompany you during your practice and help you detect a small change and be a better vet. I don't know. And so yeah. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Yeah. It absolutely helps you be a better vet because we can quantify it, and it's simple, it's easy. And the other thing I just want to say is the support from you and everybody that helps you has been amazing. So that's the other part of this, that I know, even though with the time difference, I can shoot you an email or something and I know I'm going to get a response and help as quick as possible. So that's worth a lot as well. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you very much. We do our best to have a great customer support because we do this for you, so it's normal for us. I think we are done. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you soon, and feel free to contact us anytime when you want. Wonderful. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.